60 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You have 60 seconds to comply. This is minute 46. Part man,
Part machine,
or pod.
This minute begins with Lewis catching up with Robocop in the hallway and ends with a technician running after Robocop's car. Everybody's running after Robocop today.
I know. He's well, I was going to say he's a wanted man,
Yes.
but not in that way.
Yes. Robocop would never be a wanted man.
No. I think he goes above the law in a few movies from now. But, no, it's... Oh,
I haven't actually done my Robocop voice that often. I've probably maybe twice.
I just don't think I've got the range to do a Peter Weller, and so I don't want to attempt it, or at least, I'm not confident enough to attempt it.
Mary had a little lamb. That sort of thing. It's fun.
I feel like I keep saying this every minute for like the last 5 or 6 minutes, but good Jesus, this is just one of those perfect moments in a perfect film. Like, damn.
There's some beautiful flow. This is a minute with a lot of flow, where it's just the exchange between. My brain was like, do I say the character's name or the actor's? I was going to say Lewis and Murphy.
Both?
Yeah, both. I mean, I guess particularly here I'm talking about performance, where it's just so understated, and it's more about how the music and the action around it rises into this crescendo.
The cinematography is just spot on.
Yeah, and also Nancy Allen looks very pretty in this scene. Just wanted everybody to know.
Well, I do have some notes on that, but that's for commentary reasons. I've got a note here. Yeah, Maggie Mae Fish pretty much, really nails it on her analysis of Robocop. The mirroring between the two characters, and the funny thing is, saying about Lewis being very pretty in this scene. Look, she's definitely an attractive person, and she's being very Nancy Allen's a very attractive person, but I think it's the first time in this movie where we see a little bit of that femininity come through,
Yeah. I think part of it is down to performance in terms of she's being a bit more gentle, which we haven't seen before.
Yes.
And I think maybe makeup and styling, they have made her look more feminine, whereas in previous scenes she's a bit more butch. So I think it was deliberate. Yeah,
the framing especially, because I think it's the first time we actually really get a close-up of Nancy Allen and Lewis in this movie, where it's
she isn't beating up men or pulling a helmet off, or this is just
or popping bubble gum, or So I think it's one of those things where the framing really helps it, but and I'll bring this up in the commentary notes, but it's not sexualized.
No, it creates a sense of you got noise going on in the background.
Yeah, I was just going to say we're recording in hurricane season in Perth, there's for a second there I'm like, was that someone calling my name, or was that just the wind?
It's just the building talking to you, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Ghostbuster, so of course I live in a haunted house.
Yeah, of course. You're the only one who can deal with very cheap rent. Because of the ghost. But you can deal with it, man. It's not really an issue.
And also, unlicensed nuclear material, being scattered around the place, and, a containment grid that might blow up the entire block. But, that's a trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, people don't tend to inspect those things when you live in a haunted place. You get the place to yourself, I assume.
The last time someone tried to inspect one of these places, it blew up New York, so,
Back off, man.
Anyway,
I'm a scientist.
Robocop.
Ghostbusters.
Well, we have scientists in this particular scene, so it's fitting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a Ghostbusters minute, so go check that out, I guess. But meanwhile, Robocop, I think there's that we've already had this empathetic connection between Lewis and Murphy, and now we're feeling that same connection between her and Robocop, and I love that it's again really subtle. She says, "You're Murphy, aren't you?" And then he just takes 2 steps back, and then he goes to leave. So you almost feel like, oh, maybe he was just doing that to leave it. No, I think she got through to him.
Well, what's really interesting is between the book and the script and the movie, the scene plays out almost identically, but the dialogue is just slightly different in almost every scene. So you're saying about the iconic line is, "Murphy, it's you." Come on, Murphy. it is you. Like, it feels a lot more like, come on, you should recognize me.
Insistent.
Yeah, whereas, like, I think in the movie, like, Nancy plays it kind of a bit more conspiratorially. Like, it's a thing of, like, she can see the OCP going in, so she's, like, trying to kickstart him, so... And she even, later on, we'll get to this pretty much next minute, is she doesn't particularly let Morton know. She basically said that to Robocop.
Yeah, and actually that ties into one of my notes where I was realizing in this minute, more than any other, it kind of epitomizes this sense that, this idea of this militarized police, police brutality, it's a very inhuman arm of the government, or is it even part of the government anymore? I don't know. But
yeah,
it's this idea, she does not feel comfortable in her own workplace. And Robocop lacks any sort of social protocols. You'd think the idea with police, I would never felt this way personally, but police are supposed to make you feel safe, and so they're supposed to make the community feel safe. Yeah, I mean, I've never felt that way personally. If I see police at an event, I just go, some shit's gonna go down. But yeah.
Well, even as a driver, like, there's a moment where, a cop car pulls up behind you with flashing lights, and you party just there going, what the fuck did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Like, I can't say I've had negative dealings with the police personally, but yeah, there's still a moment where you just, someone who has anxiety and stuff like that, you just think, oh, what the fuck?
Definitely had sort of tense I cannot talk today. It's first thing in the morning, guys. Just bear with us. Yeah. But tense interactions, I was going to say, where it's like, I'm the passenger in the car, and we're just sort of talking, but they're still, they're big dogging us. Like, there is no reason for them to do that. It's just like, well, I'm the cop, so I'm the boss here. It's like, okay, jeez, wasn't saying anything.
Yeah, it definitely plays on power dynamics, and I think it is part of training, specifically with police officers, is a matter of controlling a situation, and part of controlling situation can be a dominating approach to a situation, whereas, you find with a lot of, say, propaganda, the police officer is usually either the alpha dog or the compassionate one. You got essentially good cop versus bad cop scenarios.
Yeah, and clearly OCP just went, oh no, like they could maybe have programmed a very sophisticated social protocol there, but just like, no. He is a blunt instrument. We just need the purest distilled version of cop, if we could, please.
It very much feels, and this is very much prevalent in the next minute, is like, this isn't an item that's used to dispense justice or keep the peace. This is a product that OCP is wanting to sell, and this is Morton's basically, dream project. He doesn't care about the city or anything else. He cares about his pride, his hubris, his status. This is something that's we could definitely talk about. But I'll just quickly, so the other line in the book, and this is, I think, again, it's the same scene, same thing, just slightly different dialogue, is, come on, Murphy, it is you underneath there, right? So again, same dialogue, well, same context, but just, again, this feels like a bit more like, maybe Lewis is thinking this is a bit of a play.
Do you think it was risky for OCP to put Robocop back in the same precinct he came from?
I think OCP did not think about that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think that was a conscious decision by Morton. I reckon they probably went, well, it's established in the beginning of this movie that's Metro West's version? I can't remember. So there's Metro North, Metro South, and Metro West.
Yeah, I don't remember which one.
I know they keep switching between movies, but this one is the worst of the worst. So they probably went, what's the shithole we can throw Robocop in so he gets into lots of big dogging?
True. I always wondered, so Sergeant Reed, I don't know if he is in on it at all. I think they probably just showed up and went, here's a Robocop, deal with it.
Well, that's it. In the when Robocop is reintroduced into the Metro, he pretty much just like, what the hell's going on? He has no idea. OCP didn't even give him a friendly email.
Just a heads up, no.
Just a heads up, we're taking over this department. Even like Morton, when he comes in and knocks on the door, it's just like, yeah, get lost. shoot, go away. You may be the desk sergeant, but go away. You know, pat him on the head, move along.
And I mean, this is sort of related to the next minute, but yeah, the technician's running. I think we found out that guy's name, but I can't remember anymore.
Roosevelt?
I think it's Roosevelt. That rings a bell.
Roosevelt's got in the suit.
Oh, okay. Anyway, but he's just like, yeah, what did you say to him? And I'm just wondering, okay, if you've made this ultra sophisticated robot man, are you telling me that you've got to be really, you got to be censoring everything that he hears because you might trigger him? Like, what?
Well, I think in the context of this minute, it's a thing where they know that something's wrong with him, and Lewis stopped him. So maybe it's one of those things where they're seeing this happen, and
so you think maybe it's the other way around, where he's going, "Hang on, you got it through to him seemingly for a second there. What did you do? Do it again."
I think that's probably the scientific mind of just like, okay, we're trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. Maybe they thought, maybe Lewis snuck in beforehand and said something to him. We don't know, but yeah, I think that's just that. It was just like, hang on. You've had an interaction. Did you say anything to him? And I think that's the idea. But it's, I like the fact that OCP has no clue what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I like that aspect of it because that is very realistic. You're dealing with the human brain and you've gone in there with these primitive tools and you've tried to scramble it around as you see fit. It's not going to work the way you think it's going to work.
Yeah, and we as the audience, we have the non-diegetic reasoning. We know that Murphy or Robocop is starting to realize who he is, and we're getting the triggers, but they are clueless. I think that's the other thing. The visual indicator is the EEG, so all they're seeing is squiggles. They really just don't know what's going on. His brain activity's off the charts. Whoa. That's not good.
So he's not supposed to dream? Is he just supposed to...
Yeah. I guess they are so fixated on Robocop being a product that they forget that he was a person.
They need some kind of longing, rostered 17 daybreak furnace.
Someone posted one of those things where it's like, what's 4 words that'll what's 4 words that make me do whatever you want? And that's posted the Winter Soldier wants.
My favorite part is 9 benign. Just saying 9 benign is very fun to me.
Benign 9 isn't that the sequel to A Hateful Eight?
I thought that was actually the sequel to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah.
Well, Brooklyn Nine-Nine's kind of benign.
True. Yeah, so the Hateful Eight...
As propaganda goes?
Yeah, Hateful Eightful and the Benign Nine. Yeah, I like it. I dig it.
It's just the chillax. Oh, God, could Quentin Tarantino do a chillaxed movie?
Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of people sitting
with their feet
around
up?
a coffee table, mid-century modern furniture, smoking weed, and then just talking about, I don't know... Roy Orbison and fucking I don't know how James Dean died, and they're talking about some sort of profound philosophical connection between those two things. I don't know.
No, I think you didn't hear my comment of with all their feet up.
Oh yes, that did not come through on my end, so
I had to get that in there. The Quentin Tarantino foot fetish, which he apparently definitely does not have, according to him. Definitely does not have.
Just embrace your kinks, man. Who cares?
Yeah, we do not kink shame here.
Yes, very kink positive.
Very kink positive.
Robococks all the way down.
Oh, so there's an interesting thing in the script in the book, is that when Lewis talks to Murphy, from the POV shot of Robocop, we get the directive listing, and it's to say serve the public trust, blah 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 blah. in the script, it only has 3 directives, and I think that just might be a typo, because it has Directive 1, protect and serve the public trust, Directive 2, uphold the law, Directive 3, classified. So I think they might have just miscounted there.
Very simple job, guys. God damn it.
I know, you had one job, and you wrote it! In the book, it's, serve the public trust, uphold the law, protect the innocent, for classified. So, yeah, I think they just screwed up in the script. However, I think it's one of those things where, because they had the directives pop up earlier on in the film, they probably didn't feel like it was necessary to pop up the directives. And probably, I think we get a sense that the directives and stuff pop up when a crime is in progress, that's how it's being reinforced, it's something that Murphy has to kind of know. Whereas I think it's a bit weird that the director would pop up just talking to a fellow police officer. I mean, yes, it's technically could you imagine every single interaction, he talks to a random citizen, and then the Directive 1 pops off, serve the public trust. It's yes, I know.
All the time.
Every single time. I mean, you can kind of get why he erases them in Robocop 2. They're just pesky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was just supposed to be a visual.
It's all those notifications from all your apps. I've had to get a few different phones in the last few weeks. Just they will give me issues, so I had to return them and get a new one. And then I have to go through and turn off all the notifications for all the different apps. I don't care about Duolingo.
Yeah. I don't care that I have to do my Esperanto lesson in a minute.
It's a shame Esperanto never took off.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was trying to look for the most useless language you could possibly learn. And I was going to say Klingon, but...
Well, shit. It's exactly what I was hoping to spare you from.
Klingon, you're probably actually better off.
Yes, you could actually use it in conversation.
Maybe only a few times a year at conventions, but yes.
Oh yeah, when you dressed up as a Klingon, you can go around calling people...
Pataks?
Baklath? Patak!
Yeah, there we go.
I was going to say, I wanted to say Balath. No, it's Patak, you
yes.
Damn Pataks. Which is not a nice thing to call anyone in Klingon. And there's our Star Trek reference.
Well, I don't know, if you're an Australian Klingon, I think you just call all your mates a Patak. It's just how you say hello. Yeah.
G'day, Patak!
Yeah.
How's it going? Although the Klingon greeting is Nuk Nek, which roughly translates as, what do you want?
I love it. What a great culture.
Yeah, it was not meant to be aggressive, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm bleeping that one out. But, as in, it's mostly a matter of, you're interrupting me, or, what is it you require?
Yes.
It's so aggressively Klingon.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyway.
I love the line in this minute, somewhere a crime is happening. It's that is...
Yes!
It feels so profound. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, I'm not sure if it's Robocop trying to deflect or...
Oh, yeah.
But...
I don't have emotions. I'm not crying. You're crying.
What is this Murphy of which you speak?
Yeah.
I think they were trying to do a visual indicator, these things are going to be important, but I think, quite rightly, I'm glad they didn't put the text on screen, because I think it might distract from the visual language of this particular moment. Yeah,
it is just purely focusing on each other's face and that connection there.
Yeah, and even I'll dip into the commentary, because even Ed talks about the cinematography in this, and he does specifically mention the close-up of Robocop's face, because I think that's the first time we actually get such an angle on Robocop as well, that close-up of the face, really kind of focusing on the actual jaw and everything like that, as opposed to this big hulking mechanical beast. It's almost like this was direct, the cinematography and everything was done by really professional creative people.
Yeah, unlike gaslighting Robocop. I don't know if we want to
I've got some notes before that.
You've saved yourself about 10 more minutes. Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, I'm trying to delay the inevitable, because... So more commentary notes. John Davison mentions that the original Lewis that was cast was Stephanie Zimbalist, who people might know her mostly from a show called Remington Steele.
Oh.
Which also starred the pre-James Bond Pierce Brosnan. But she dropped out a few weeks before principal photography.
Nah, she wouldn't have worked.
Well, it comes up in the next series of minutes commentary. Actually, Paul originally preferred Nancy Allen, so this is probably one of those things where, like, say, producers or everything were just like, no, we'll get this person. I believe, timing-wise, Stephanie would have been halfway through the run of Remington Steele, and that was a big show at the time, so they probably were mostly focusing on star power. And she's an attractive lady and everything, so I think that was one of the things that they were probably thinking more sex appeal.
Yeah.
But going back into the sex appeal part, Ed actually mentions that specifically how the non-sexualization of Lewis was something that works incredibly well for the scene. And because there's no sexual tension or attraction between these two characters, so you get more of an emotional connection. And it's something that even he admits he didn't pretty much understand, but so this was very much a Paul thing. He was the one that didn't want to sexualize Lewis, and smartest move, play of the game, damn. If this had been any other director, if this had been a Michael Bay, this would have been big hair, tits out Lewis. And
yeah, it's surprising actually. In the 80s, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of sexualization going on, but then it's also the era that gave us your Ripleys, your Sarah Connors, your Anne Lewis's. It's an interesting time, especially in the action genre and what they were doing with women, because we were starting to depart from just, especially in sci-fi, the, very glammed up doll of a woman with the ray gun and I'm thinking of bloody Barbarella is one example, but they also parodied it. I just watched Galaxy Quest, could not think of the name. That kind of thing.
Well, the funny thing about Galaxy Quest is essentially, they got Sigourney Weaver to deliberately play the airhead who hates being played as the airhead.
Shields at 20%. The computer says shields at 20%. Yes, I. Look, I had one job on this ship, and I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
She is great at comedy, and it is such a shame that she hasn't done any more. Because she is great.
Well, Ghostbusters was her first comedic role, and she plays the straight person to everyone else's basically weirdo yak fest. So it's like she knew she could do comedy, but nobody wanted to hire her because everyone just went, oh yeah, she's Ripley at this stage.
Damn shame.
But what's funny about talking about Sarah Connor is that Sarah Connor didn't become a badass until the 90s. In The Terminator, she very much is the damsel trope. She starts to get a bit more, I don't want to say the word aggressive, but she does tend to have some more agency towards the end of the film, but so that's a good evolution. Kind of same with Ripley, although Ripley still was a very strong character. If they had just listened to her, the xenomorph would not have gotten bored.
That is why Alien is one of the most relatable movies as a woman, because it's just like, could you listen to me? I've got a suggestion. I think, okay, well, everyone's dying and you still haven't listened to me, so maybe you should, okay, you're dead too.
I'm just gonna, grab my cat and get off this ship, blow it to pieces, and fuck you all.
It's a great movie. Classic.
It is a great film.
Yes, I'll get back to my freaking Alien Covenant movies by minute one day. It's fine.
That's okay.
It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
I think I'm probably gone beyond you in regards to hiatus at this moment. So
yeah, actually, you're
3 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't have time. Speaking of breaking a streak, that's a bad segue. But we're going to bad film, so
yep, gaslighting Robocop.
Alex, how do you feel? I feel fine, Dr. Norton.
This minute begins with literal brain surgery, a task which the writing of this script could never be compared to, and ends with market research, which is basically what this movie was. It's a product of market research.
Yeah, my note is combat mode, ... Fuck you.
Combat mode looks like the Robocop PlayStation 2 game.
Oh god, yes! I've got the Xbox version of that right next to me, and the graphics look exactly the same.
It is exactly the same. And a neurologist, I believe that's his qualification. He's doing brain surgery. So he says that consciousness is nothing more than processing of information It's like, Are you sure though? Because the brain itself, generates ideas, it responds to stimulus. There's a few other things than just processing the information. You got to be able to execute commands on that. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's almost as if the people writing this didn't give a shit.
Yeah, it's one of those lines where it felt like they were trying to say something smart, and it just comes across being a bit dumb.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what consciousness is in the first place, so any neurologist, neurosurgeon, whatever he officially is, would know that. I mean, okay, so it's supposed to be set in the future, but no, I don't think you really understand consciousness.
It really does feel like one of those complex subjects that has been dumbed down for a expected dumb audience.
Yeah.
I think it's there just to really drive the scene forward, to say, like, all we need to do to make RoboFlag more compliant is just remove his brain, or at least, his conscious thought. And it's like, why did you just do that to begin with?
Then it's not even a human at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is built upon this very shaky premise of, well, why don't we put a man inside of a machine? Oh, but we'll just remove most of the man. So really, what they wanted was a fleshy human face to convince people, why don't you just make a really good android?
As long as the fleshy human face is a white, attractive, bland piece of toast.
Exactly. I mean, that's the Weyland-Yutani method as well. I mean, we don't talk about Alien 4, but yeah, mostly you just want a generic white man.
Yeah.
Who's just gonna fade into the back.
What is it? No fatties, no blacks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The OCP way. But speaking of consciousness, now, of course, we don't have an answer to what consciousness is, but I am endlessly fascinated. And recently, the article doing the round was about how consciousness is about vibrations. And it sounds like a really far-out theory, but it relates to, I guess you could call it a mathematical phenomenon called spontaneous self-organization. And I think Veritasium...
I've heard of this, but
Yeah.
I've never read into it.
So Veritasium has a video on self-organization, and it's like, when fireflies come together in large gatherings, their flashing eventually goes in sync. Lasers are produced when photons of the same power and frequency sync up. The moon's rotation is exactly synced with its orbit around the Earth. And these are just things that, based on variables that we don't quite understand, it just happens. But vibration seems to be the underlying thing.
Well, it's the concept that chaos over time equals order.
Yes, basically that. So large-scale neuron firing occurs in human brains at measurable frequencies, and with mammalian consciousness thought to be commonly associated with various kinds of neuronal sync. So, I mean, that makes sense, because if you have epilepsy, what's happening is your neurons are firing out of sync. So the latest thinking is that...
Yeah, light itself is a frequency.
So where consciousness must be emerging from is just that the vibrations, the synchronicity between neurons. And then, of course, we enter different states of consciousness depending on neuronal activity. So when you're dreaming, there's more going on than when you're just basically more unconscious. There's a name for the different states of sleep, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah.
Well, there's also the idea of like the the circadian rhythm?
Yes.
And like how it's synced to essentially daylight and nighttime.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're more inclined to you're tired, you're more inclined to go to sleep, and that's why if your circadian rhythm's a bit disrupted, that's why you get night howls and things like that.
So...
But God damn it, it's all tied together, to steal a phrase.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big fan of determinism, that everything happens because something else happens. There's always factors before now that led up to you making even the most basic decisions.
Yeah, that's why free will doesn't exist.
Yeah, I actually find that quite comforting, whereas I talk to my family about it and they get freaked out. They just go, but if I don't have free will, then okay. You have the illusion of free will. So every decision you make, like, I feel like wearing a pink shirt today. You feel like you made that decision, but maybe it's because, I don't know, you were watching something and someone was wearing pink, and you're like, yeah, pink feels good today.
Then you get into postmodernism and things like semantics, semiotics, and how socially constructed pink is girly and blue is manly and blah 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 blah.
Exactly. Like, well, if you're a man, you're statistically less likely to even buy a pink shirt and so on and so forth. Yeah. So it's not just, oh, I don't like pink. It's like, maybe it's something else.
It's funny when people try and use biological determinism to basically reinforce gender and sexual stereotypes, and it's really like, if you go back far enough, the opposite was true. So, no, you're wrong.
I think there are certain things that pertain to our gender, particularly, just genitals. Like, that's going to determine certain aspects of your life.
Yeah, this is why men should wear kilts. We need some free-flowing down there.
I honestly don't understand where we went wrong in history, where men are wearing the constrictive, lower half garments, and women are wearing the loose. Like, we can wear things that look like they're spray painted on us, and we can still move around, and we're not in pain down there. What?
Yeah, if we cross our legs with a pair of tight trousers, we're in a lot of pain.
I will say the trend, it's kind of gone out of fashion, but the drop crotch trousers that men were wearing around 2015, it's like, yes, that's the right idea for men. That's the kind of trousers men should be wearing.
Yeah, especially if you want to increase fertility, because heat down there, not good.
Oh, do you think it's like a conspiracy? I know we're way off track here, but it wouldn't be 60 Seconds to Comply if it didn't. So, like, is this trying to reduce the human population by making men wear tighter and tighter fitting trousers?
I think if it's going to be not so much reducing the population, it's probably the next generation of eugenics, and we want the correct generation to be sustained.
But going back to what we were saying about consciousness, so it's so fascinating to me to view consciousness from this perspective, because then you think, okay, what about a digital system? What about in Robocop himself? He has this very sophisticated non-organic system within him. Will he eventually have some kind of synchronization, not just within the robotic parts itself, but between the biological and the robotic? Over time, would we see this merging? And I think we've talked about that before, the people with the brain implants to deal with epilepsy and all those sorts of issues.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Heard that one. Yeah, so even with minor brain implants, we are seeing people merging with these devices. So it's really cool, trippy sci-fi stuff, but it's real.
Yeah. No, the thing that just came to mind, just thinking about what you're saying about that, we're seeing this movie that Norton is removing chips.
Yes.
And I think the visual language is that we're supposed to imply that removing these chips is essentially removing the controls.
Inhibitors, maybe?
Well, I don't know, but that's the problem, because they're going, hang on, we're dealing with a human brain. If you're removing chips, aren't you just letting the brain take back control? I mean, okay, if I'm looking at this from a technological point of view, maybe Morton's removing a chip so he can do a flash dump onto the chip and reload it into it.
Yeah, maybe he's not actually removing it, he's taking it off, putting it back on.
But we don't see that part of it unless you know things about electronics, but the visual implications that...
And there's something between his lobes. It's like a...
Yeah. It looks like essentially a chip slot to a certain degree. But that's what I'm thinking. It's like, hang on. The visual language is more to removing things from RoboFlag, when, realistically speaking, if they want more control over RoboFlag, they should be actually putting more in. But I'm not sure if that visually works.
Yeah.
Because the whole implication is they're removing the consciousness from Robocop. God damn it, movie.
I mean, if there is logic, we will never know.
No, we'll definitely not know. And I really want to go back to Sellers for a tick, because it does feel like a bit of a fuck you to have them bring up the old costume as like, yeah, check this out, and we're gonna turn it into this. They turned it into fucking hammer bots. The Robo Hammer. They're just
the fucking a siren and the light on his head.
they unironically do that. And I didn't even think they were even thinking about that. But it's just like, yeah, you push a button and he transforms and he removes his cool armor to reveal the bad armor.
Yeah, it's really popular with the 5-year-olds, a demographic we're really going after.
Yeah,
But we'll go more into that in the next minute.
We'll go into more on that in the next minute because Keaton's line in that is brilliant. But yeah, it's just such a fuck. I just felt insulted in that moment watching it the first time.
More so than any other minute in other minute in this movie so far.
This particular moment just feels like a big this isn't your daddy's Robocop.
Isn't that so clever? I'd buy that for $1. I wouldn't buy that for $1, whatever the hell. I don't.
Yeah, it does feel like the big slap in the face. Like, it's also the moment you guys go, it's just looking back. It's like they really did grotesquely emphasize certain aspects of the classic Robocop costume on this model. Like the helmet looks a bit too big, like the arms are a bit too big and stuff like that. It's like, oh, really, you really went there. Anyway, fuck this movie. We'll talk about it more next minute. Cause damn, I'm all noted out.
Okay, well.
So, where can the lovely viewers find you?
Yes, I can't do it without you introducing that part of the editor.
I know.
Yeah, so traviandesigns.com, that's where you'll find my podcast and photo shoots and everything, and Courtney Colson on YouTube.
And you can find me on Fandom Crossing and Helios Photos, where I've taken some of those aforementioned photo shoots. But more importantly, you can find us on Spotify, Google, Simplecast, Apple, most of your favorite podcasting, pod snatching, or podcatching, and whatever pod programs. Pod people.
Grab them by the podcast.
Yeah, grab them by the podcast and twist. But yeah, YouTube as well. Forgot the YouTube. But yes, please like, share, subscribe, rate, review, leave us some comments. Send a eagle to Gondor and drop the ring into a mountain. I don't know what the kids do these days. These social medias, platforms. And until next time.
Imagine a world where a man has a robotic penis. You're now entering the Robocop zone. I just thought of that at the last minute. I was just like, the scary door. Why am I thinking that? Oh, I could do something with that.
I was just about to say, I can't beat that. Ew.